Well, the logistics of the parade, that's the big thing, and that happens weeks, months before. I mean, they almost start the parade after the previous year's parade was over. They're starting right into it. It takes a lot of logistics, a lot of people to pull it off on parade day. And it's usually done by, in my time, it was the older Independence Day Committee. We knew just where to go, just what to do. At the end of the parade, we probably weren't even talking to each other, but we enjoyed. And you know, myself, I go back to my father was involved with the West Side Social Club, so that's how I got involved with the parade. And a lot of the people on the older committee, the same way, their fathers belonged to the West Side Social Club. And we've just continued it on over the years. I enjoy it. For me, it's my Christmas morning. And I think for a lot of people in Wakefield, it's the same way. It's tradition, it's Americana. I always said that, you know, it's, if Norman Rockwell had grew up in Wakefield or was in Wakefield, it'd feel right at home. Well, I think it's people, it's everyday people here in Wakefield that enjoyed the parade and want to keep it going and are willing to spend some time over the months leading up to the 4th to get involved with the parade. And, you know, we have different subcommittees on the parade committee, floats, logistics, parking, you name it. It's a bigger undertaking that day. And it's just the ordinary person here in Wakefield. And it's just somebody that's very organized and can put it all together. And it has been done for many years now. Tradition, tradition, tradition. Well, a tradition, I think for myself, it goes back to my father was one of the, I shouldn't say the original members, but he joined in the war years in the middle 40s to the West Side Social Club. And that started a tradition for me because as a young child, I myself came up here on 4th of July morning, worked in one of the refreshment tents all day and loved it. They used to let us out maybe 15 minutes before the fireworks, but it was something we looked forward to. The Independence Day Parade was basically started by the West Side Social Club, I believe, in the late 40s, continued on through the war years. And then it hit its heydays probably from about 1950 through the middle to late 50s. And from there, it kind of tailed off a bit. It was hard to get volunteers for the parade, but the Wakefield Independence Day Committee formed in those years. And we were former members of the West Side Social Club that knew about the parade, knew how to put it on. And from there, it morphed on to about I'd say the early 2000s. And then we started losing a little bit. We didn't get as much money. And then we came to one year where we didn't think we could put on a parade. And we actually had a fundraiser and started a little traditional thing going in the fall for extra money. And the townspeople of Wakefield responded to that, and we had the parade. And since then, the Wakefield Independence Day Committee, my group of my older people that were in the committee, kept it going, and then it started to phase out again. And then Patrick Sullivan started the newer Independence Day Committee with Brian Fox and a bunch of his friends, and that continues on to today. Well, the makeup of a parade is basically a band, a float, a filler unit, and that's what we call it, a filler unit. It can be almost anything. And I think people like to see the traditional units that they see every year, but then they like to see something new. And it kind of like every 4 or 5 years, you got to reinvent the parade. And this what makes it new. Wakefield's parade is very unique in that we have bands, drum corps from all over the country and into Canada. It's very unique. No other parade has that around that I know of. And the quality of the bands, the quality of the drum corps is the best there is. I mean, we have some of the top 10 drum corps every year in this parade. Well, I think for maybe the newer people, of course, all they have to say is Redmond's Band. And that was a fraternal organization here in Wakefield. It was the Wampatuck tribe, I think number 54. And that was led for many years by Lenny Beard. And people in Wakefield know Dick Beard, his son. This was probably, when they did their snake dance in front of the viewing stand, everybody looked forward to it. Probably the most colorful group in Wakefield as far as anything that was in the parade. Another group that people look forward to in the early 50s was the Lieutenant Norman Prince Post, which was a drum and bugle corps. And they won several national championships back in that day. And again, they were another group that was, world-class group. That was, something you'd never see in another parade. But, we reinvent the parade every year, every couple of years. And this is some of the things that I remember in the parade. I would probably say that we got pretty much what we tried to get. I mean, some of the groups were unique. Of course, Rex Trailer, who I grew up with, and the kids' TV cowboy show. I tried to get him a number of times, but he was doing a parade in, I believe, Waltham or Natick, where he came from. And then for about 3 or 4 years, we actually did get him towards the end of the line for Rex, and he had his horse Gold Rush with him. And he was one guy that I kind of liked because he cared about the parades that he was in. He cared about the kids that were on his show, and he used to be one of the few people that used to call me up a couple days after the parade, thanking me and thanking Wakefield for inviting him to the parade. And I always remember that.
The groups of kids, the people that were waiting. I grew up on the west side, so I would be doing things and making sure that the people actually didn't go out in the street and just watch up their
I believe you used to come down from Parker Road to Fairmont,
Fairmont
to see it.
Fairmont,
That was her. Everybody had a favorite little place to watch the parade from, and that was hers, right at that corner of Walnut, is it, and Fairmont.
yeah.
And all the people from the west side had come down the hill, and
Yeah.
Lois was just like anybody else. She had 3 sisters and a brother that would be down there and
Yeah.
looking forward to the parade. People enjoyed the parade, and it got more popular and more popular over the years, and I think people would put their chairs out so they could be first in line to see the floats and the bands coming through. And over the years, it is just, who knows, this is 2020, and who knows, maybe this year you'll see some chairs out there and there is no parade this year. You'll see stars out there, but there is no parade. But who knows what will happen on the 4th of July. This is Wakefield, and tradition is tradition. Things happen. I think people come back. It's almost like a reunion here in Wakefield on the 4th of July. You can probably go back to your grandfather, your father. They all, hung out at that famous spot that you had to watch the parade. And, brothers, sisters, everything show up here in Wakefield for the parade. And it's something very unique. And you might meet an old classmate that you had in high school or college, comes back to Wakefield. And it's just, that's what we call tradition. And I think that's what people are probably, coming back to Wakefield for, that reunion of all the people. Maybe it was your neighbor or something. And you just meet on 4th of July. And after that, you'll all walk up to maybe the fireworks here on the Common. I think the fireworks started basically in the early 40s. The West Side Social Club put on like homemade fireworks that were up by Doyle's Pond, which is up off of Albion Street at the time. And then they started doing it on Moulton Playground. From there, they kind of moved down here to the Common, and they had the fireworks right here on the Common. They were set up right here on the shoreline. And over the years, of course, with safety restrictions on fireworks and everything, they had to move the fireworks from right here on the common because the crowd would be sitting just about where I am now. And they moved them across the Beacon Street. And there were several years back in the 50s that for some reason, I don't know why, they couldn't have fireworks. So what they went ahead and did was have bonfires. For 2 years they had bonfires, and the wooden barrels were set up right here on the edge of the lake on the common, and they lit those on fire in place of the fireworks. But the fireworks going off over there, of course, when they used to set them off here, they had, fuses that were lit by hand. Over the years, they set off electronically across. They can theme them with different things, but they're on Beacon Street now. This is a year 2020 that we're talking. With the coronavirus, it has changed the new normal, and I'm sure parades are going to be a new normal. After we had 9/11, it changed the parade with security. Cost of the parades went up as far as security. We had more, police involved with it. State police, bomb sniffing dogs. Things change, and this is the new normal that we're doing now. I mean, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to be putting a mask on because of this. But I see it continuing on if people want it, and they're going to have to want it. And if you want it, you're going to have to work and join a committee like the Independence Day Committee of today. And it's not going to happen by itself. The town really doesn't put it on. It's put on by the Wakefield Independence Day Committee, the parade, and you've got to work for it. I mean, it's a great thing, and it's like I said, my Christmas morning. This is my event that I've loved all my life. Me and my sisters have gone to these parades since the early 50s that I can remember, and did a lot of the down here, the pet parade, the doll carriage parade, the events that the West Side Social Club does in the morning. We always entered into those. In the afternoon, we'd come here, and they'd have after the parade a concert, and of course being here for the fireworks. And I can remember back years and years ago, and they used to have fireworks that are a little different than what they have today. In other words, they had ground pieces set up right about where we're standing, and you had to see those to understand what they were, but they were created fireworks that were pinwheels. They had one called Niagara Falls. They had one that was looked like two little tanks firing back and forth at each other. People look forward to that. And today you don't see that. I'm sure it would be a cost to make those would be, an enormous amount of money, but that's what I remember. That's hard to say. I enjoyed all of them, and they were each one had its own little unique thing in it. And working for the whole year to get the different groups together and everything. I think today I would love to see the Redmonds Band back. We'll never see it, but my memories are with seeing like the Redmonds Band. And again, the Norman Prince Post was fantastic at their time. We've had mummers bands that I loved. Some of the floats were absolutely fantastic, going back into the early 50s. And whether we'll see that again, I don't know. I hope we will, but we'll see. But we need people out there to come and want to be part of the parade, organize the parade, and they're the ones that are going to keep it going. Not me, but the newer people in town. We need some younger people into the parade. They'll have new ideas. I can tell you probably one of my funniest, I don't know how funny it was, but we went out and got a large balloon that you'd see in like Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and we couldn't, of course, because of height restrictions, fly it. We had it on the back of a tractor trailer truck, and it left Quannapowitt Parkway, and it made it about 50 feet into the parade before one of the parts of the balloon, which was called Ollie the Octopus, and it had legs. And the driver of the truck went a little too far over to one side, and the octopus legs were just slapping up against everybody on that side of the street. until he moved further in, and all of a sudden one of the legs got caught up in the wheels, and it just tore it to shreds. We had to cut it to pieces, so it lasted maybe about 200 feet into the parade, and that was it. But that was one of the things I remember. You never saw it, but it happened.
I think it's great for the town, great for people to see what is going on in town with the parade. My special moments actually have happened several years ago when I was sitting next to my husband. The first year I couldn't say boo because I might mess up what was going on and interrupt. But the second year was the best year because my dad had a car agency in Wakefield years and years and years ago. And I liked cars, little old cars. So and Dan would say, "Oh, Rose, look at those old cars." And I said, "I love it."
She loved the classic cars, and she knew a lot of them too from her family being involved with cars. But she enjoyed that, and she also painted the stars on the street at 5 o'clock in the morning for me, along with me. And that's one thing I'd like to say about the parade, and one thing, a kind of a tradition that's been going on now for, I think this is probably the 15th year. They actually painted the stars on, I think, 2 weekends ago. And that's my creation, that I wanted something unique for the parade. And some towns have got like the red, white, and blue stripe down the middle. But I wanted something that didn't interfere with the traffic. So I decided on the red, white, and blue stars. And they basically go red, white, and blue the way the parade goes. And I had some stencils made, and Dick Beard made the stencils up for me. We had a bunch of different generations of those star stencils, but it's something that we do at almost 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we had several different people did them over the years, and people saw those stars, and early walkers that saw the stars, the first thing they do was smile and say, "Geez, thank you for doing that." And it was kind of like people knew when they saw the freshly painted stars, the parade was within a couple of weeks or something. And we used to even talk to some of the bands, and they'd say, "Well, what's the parade route?" And they said, "We've been in Wakefield before, but we don't know it." And I said, "Well, just follow the stars on the street. It'll bring you right to the start of the parade and the end of the parade." And it still continues, and I'm glad it does. It's one of those creations of mine that, I don't know why I did it, but I think it was 2004 that I actually started putting stars down in front of the reviewing stand so that some of the bands, when they got up to the stands, would know just about where the reviewing stand was and where the center point was. And that continues, and I hope it continues for many, many years. And I can remember painting those with people and putting those red, white, and blue stars down, and I'd have white sneakers on, and red, white, and blue creates purple sneakers. And I probably still got some of those sneakers hanging around. And I know this year it was done, even though there isn't a parade, by Brian Fox, and I think his sister was doing it, Ashley, but they had about 10 people doing it this year. They did it all in one day, ate breakfast at Brothers, and hopefully they'll continue that tradition. And just from talking to them, I'm sure they will. What the parade means to me is I can remember back, to my father. And it's memories of my father, who, like I said, was not the original member of the West Side, but within 4 or 5 years of the start of the West Side Social Club, and him basically waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, would actually go over to Lake Street, and who I used to call the voice of the parade was Al Delaney, and he used to have a breakfast there in the morning at early in the morning. We'd go over there and eat breakfast, and from there we'd come up here to the Common, and would be in the refreshment tents chipping ice with an ice pick. That's how old I am. They had glass bottles and cans then, but we'd be putting the refreshment tents together in the afternoon after the parade. Common would be flooded with people. We'd work all day, and again, my sister Marilyn would be down here with me, and we enjoyed that so much. Maybe kids today could not recognize that, but we get paid nothing to do it, but enjoyed it. And I still enjoy doing it today. And I enjoy being like right here, doing a little interview with WCAT about the parade. I mean, it's everything to me. Again, it's my Christmas morning, 4th of July. I thank WCAT for filming this and getting my memories of the parade, and hopefully some of the voiceovers during today, which many people may be seeing on the 4th of July. Thank WCAT for doing it, and I thank WCAT's crews for over the years taking the time to video the parades. And you know, these people took the time on an important day, a big holiday, and they volunteered to do it, and that's what it's all about, volunteering in Wakefield. And I thank everybody very much, and I thank Wakefield for making the parade continue, and I thank the DPW, the fire, and the police for also helping out. It couldn't happen with all these people. There's so many people that I can't mention them, and I'm afraid I'm going to leave somebody out, but thank you.
It just means a lot to see this after being, you know, young kid, and then here I am with a husband that is the best in what he does and what it means to him and myself. And that's the most important thing to me.
And who else could I get to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to paint stars than my wife? And she's done it many times.
And to have so many smiles. And wow, you know, this and that, you know. It means a lot. It means a lot.
And you say a smile, you know, how much is a smile worth? You know, it's priceless. And that's what we see from upward to 75,000, maybe even 100,000 people here for the parade. Smiles, smiles.